Happening, lads and lassies, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm rejoined again by MMA King Chris Jr.
What's going on, guys?
And today, as you can tell by the background and by the little man standing upon Danny's forehead, we're going to be covering the main man himself, Thor, the God of Thunder.
AKA Adam.
That's what it is. Anyway, moving on. So, let's just get straight into this because I'm excited to talk about this movie because, ironically, Marvel, if you're listening, why did you screw up 4? This was a great first movie. Like, when it comes to the lore and stuff, obviously it's ironic for someone like me. I'm Scottish, I'm Irish, and I'm also a wee bit of Viking. So this is like my sort of thing here. So ironically, it's talking about my ancestors' religion, which is ironic for me watching it. But also, I just think it's a good movie because let's get just straight into the nitty gritty. At the beginning of this movie, it's obviously Jane and all of our good friends, all of those people. And they're like, what is going on with the stars? And then they're chasing it down. And then Thor comes down and gets hit in the face with a truck or a van or whatever, the camper van thing, whatever it's supposed to be, which I find
Yeah.
very funny. Obviously, then it jumps back into the past to give the viewers the reasoning why there's this magic man on the floor.
The Magic Man.
Basically, what happens is Thor is about to be knighted king, and of course, Loki is up to no good, which is also something I want to bring up as well. Is for some reason in this movie that going forward, everybody completely forgets, and it's never brought up ever again. Is that Loki is apparently a frost giant's child, but is never brought up ever again. So basically, Loki helps sneak in some frost giants. They try to steal this artifact. The big elemental guy or Titan thing, whatever the name for them are, comes out, smashes them in like 2 minutes, freezes them, does what it has to do. And then obviously
Yeah.
Thor, in his narcissistic ways as usual, is like, oh my god, we need to go and storm the castle. And of course, his dad's like, no, mate, no, you're not doing that. Chill out, mate. You're just being a bit ridiculous here. And of course, what ends up happening is he ends up going, he tries to fight off these big giants. And unfortunately, it doesn't go too well because they've got too many soldiers for one, and four could probably manhandle them all if he wanted to. But of course, his dad comes in to save the day, and obviously, then he gets banished, and so then it takes us back to on the ground. So, what were some of your thoughts on that sort of stuff, Danny? Because for me, for example, it was really good, but at the same time, it's like a scale. It wasn't too fast paced, and it wasn't too slow paced, and it wasn't like too in your face like most blockbuster movies are. It wasn't like one of those starts where you're like, "Oh shit!" It's like on the go from the beginning.
I thought the beginning was all right. I remember watching this in the theater. It was just a whatever
Yeah,
opening to me or whatever. That's when Marvel was just like getting quick, get to the point type of thing. We didn't have these long 30-minute intros like some other Marvel movies that be taking forever. Like, can we like speed this thing up a little bit? But yeah, the backstory was cool. They speed up the origin story a little bit with the what was the beef between the Frost Giants and the
yeah.
Asgardians and all of them. So I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was pretty okay. It's not the best opening that I've seen, but it's not the worst one either. It's like
Yeah,
okay. Eh.
that's true for me. Like the thing that I liked most about like the opening is that it was quite quick and it wasn't taking too long to establish like this is what's happening, this is what's going on. So obviously, once Thor's been banished, because Loki obviously was the mastermind of all this plan. By the way, like it was Loki that encouraged him to go and attack the frost giants and things like that. And it's like, I agree with you, brother. Loki being Loki himself, the biggest snake in the planet. Then of course we get back down on Earth, which is quite funny because when we're on Earth, basically they're like, "Oh damn, like I've hit him," and then they're like, "Oh damn, he's like smoking hot," basically. And ironically, obviously Thor gets up and he's like, "Father, father!" Marlon here, where's my hammer? And they're like, oh god, he's crazy or he's hammered because Kat Dennings' character is like, where's my where's my hammer? And she's like, we know you're hammered, and it's quite funny. Um, and then of course they decide to take him to the hospital. Which doesn't go down so well for the doctors because obviously they're like, oh, like he's just some like drunk, like homeless guy, like all that sort of stuff. So they leave him at the hospital, which isn't a good idea. So Thor just starts manhandling all the the doctors and nurses because obviously
Poor guys.
he's like,
They didn't
"How
deserve
dare you
that.
attack the son of Odin?" And they're just like, "What's this guy on about?"
Oh Lord. You know, there's one doctor that's probably saying like, "Man, I don't know what he's hitting, but I definitely need to ask him once he's sober up, man. Like, because I want to meet Odin too. Like,
I'm pretty sure the doctors were like, "Damn, what is this guy on?" Because even as like a mortal human, he's got abnormal strength for a human. He was throwing them like they were nothing. It was like he
it's
was
like,
picking them up and just chucking them.
no.
He's just like, "Ah, they're on!" And then he's like, "Nothing can beat the sun." And then obviously he gets a syringe full of like a sleep medication, and he's like, "Ugh." So
Enough
then,
to take down an elephant.
yeah. So then Jane obviously feels bad and she wants to go back and rescue him. And then she realizes that in the photo of the cosmic event, that there was a man that came from there. And she was like, oh, God, he wasn't somewhat telling lies. Okay, I need to ask him about this experience. So then she goes back to the hospital to try and find him, but he's escaped at this point because he's used like lockpicking skills, which is never explained how he knows because he's a god. I don't know why he would need the lockpicking skills, but you know, is what it is. Um,
God training, man.
yeah. And then, so obviously, she's looking for him. She can't find him, and then she hits him with a camper van again. Poor
It's
Thor,
like,
man. He
oh
keeps
my.
getting ran over. The funny thing is, though, like the amount of times he's been ran over, I would normally unalive another person, but with Thor, even as his mortal form, it doesn't do nothing to.
It just knocks him out for a couple of minutes, and he's like, "Oh snap! Like, what's
Yeah.
going on here?"
Then they load him into the back of the van, and obviously they're trying to get to the bottom of it. So she lets him borrow some of her ex partner's clothes, but he comes out with his rippling six packs abs, and obviously they're like, "Yeah, he's very cut for a homeless person." And it's like weird. And then obviously going forward, we don't have to go scene by scene by now. We can just talk about some of the favorite parts. But like basically from then on, basically it's just Thor adapting to this new world that he's not used to, and of course
Oh
the love
man,
story and all that stuff. You've got Thor like trying to get to the hammer and Hawkeye making a cameo appearance, my main man. I see you, Barton. But I found it
yeah,
quite funny because he's like, should I shoot this guy? And they're like, wait, they're doing. He's like, to be fair, I'm kind of feeling rooting for him.
yeah.
Which I really
Oh
like.
man, yeah. Like I think some of my favorite parts of this movie is like Thor is just adapting to normal life, just being a normal human.
Yeah.
Like he's in the coffee shop. He says like, "I like this. Another."
Like, why did you just smash that for no reason? And obviously, it's funny because no one believes him this entire movie, which is, of course, obviously what would happen in a real life situation. See,
Yeah.
DC, take notes. You see if you're going to do another Batman in realistic setting. This is more like it, by the way. I thought I'd give a shout out to the last one. Anyway, going forward. Anyway, going forward. Um,
uh,
when it comes to this movie, though, the reason why I like it though is because it did have some humorous moments, but it was grounded and it was actually interesting. The story was
yeah.
intriguing. Where the new Thor that we get is ungodly, the complete opposite of
Ugh,
this guy. And
I
as much
hate
as
it,
I
man.
hate Thor Dark World, I'm going to say this: I would prefer another Thor Dark World over Fat Thor
Ooh.
being a fat guy,
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
funny and edgy,
I agree.
or like the stay-at-home dad. Like, I'm sorry, I would
Yeah.
rather see this Thor. It's cool. That's what they decided to go with, I guess, but it's not Thor. But
Well, I know why they had to change his because like the Thor had two back to back not good lower rating movies out of all the other Avengers, so that's why they had to go with the comical approach or whatever. I mean, the third Thor, I mean, we know we got a one good friend. it looks like a bag of Skittles. Shout out to you, TCK. I love you, man. I love you, little brother. But
TCK makes me crack up when I hear that stuff, man. Like sometimes I'm just like, I should get this kid on just to talk about Thor: Dark World because it would be a great bonding moment. He just does riff and crap at that movie. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like for me, it's just like they started so well, and again, I understand they might have not done the best at the box office, but they're forgetting they're doing adaptation of these characters that are not really well known. It's the same as I've been seeing people say about the Blue Beetle thing, where it's like,
yeah,
oh, people are hating on it who've never seen it, or all this sort of thing, or they're like, oh, it's just another DC movie, and I'm like, you've no fucking seen it. Shut up and go see it before you say shit like this, because this is why we're
yeah,
getting bad movies. Because the movies that are actually somewhat decent don't get enough views. And the ones that yous are going to is the ones that are hyped up in so much marketing to the point where you're like, oh, this is going to be great. And the reason why you're disappointed is because you believe in the bollocks. It's on you.
yeah.
Take responsibility for your own actions in that regard. But that's a whole other
It's
subject.
pretty. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's like, there'll be actually like a decent movie that doesn't have anything to do with the message, and
Mm,
it doesn't get watched, and then like you're basically telling the companies like, oh, we actually want the message even more because we're endorsing these overhyped movies. Like
mm,
it's crazy. But yeah, back to what you were saying, like Thor. Yeah, Thor. This was Thor, guys. This was Thor. Thor is supposed to be a little cocky, a little bit narcissistic, but still has a big heart and a good heart.
yeah.
So that's the best thing about Thor.
Look, that's what I find funny. It's like for me, it's like people need to realize as well is that this isn't just a thing that you can change the story of. It's already been written in religion. This is a religion. It's Greek mythology,
Yeah,
which was once a religion, and that's the thing. People are like there's a lot of things that I don't have an issue with in this movie. A lot of it's really good. You do get like the odd like, oh, the only female in like the like five band of brothers or whatever the hell it's called. But it doesn't really bother me because this is what I'm saying. This is it done right. It's like it's not forced in your face. It's not too much in you. It's just accepted
yeah,
because she's a badass. You know,
yeah,
that's the thing. Like, but see, this is why I think this movie is underrated as shit. Because a lot of people I know are like, oh, the first Thor was okay, but I actually thought this was really, really good. Like, because
yeah,
of the story, it was so easy to follow. It was good. It was emotional. It had great scenes. Like when they pretend that Odin's dead and you see Thor's broken heart when he's trying to pick up Mjolnir and he can't. He realizes he's no longer worthy, and it breaks him, and
yeah,
he's just screaming into the like cosmos, basically.
yeah,
You've got scenes where you like find out obviously Loki's actually like a frost giant baby thing that was like also
yeah.
cooking, and he's like, so I was a relic too, being a whiny teenager from the 2000s. That's is one of my issues, which is seems to be in all these movies, is that there's always got to be that one character, especially within the 2000s, where they're so edgy to the point of no return. And Jason Todd. Anyway, moving on. It's I'm just getting sick and tired of that stereotype, like that, like stereotype, like type all the time because yeah, they do exist, and the reason why I get annoyed at it is because those people in real life are annoying as shit. So seeing them in every single source material that you can get is kind of getting annoying and boring now. So can we please go away from that? But this is like back, like what, like this released in like what 2008, nine, something like that.
Nah, it was like 2012, I
Oh,
think.
11, 12,
Like,
yeah. Damn.
yeah, it was like 2012 because you gotta remember it's like two movies before the Avengers, so like it's Thor, then Captain America, then the Avengers. So
Oh,
whenever the
yeah.
Avengers
To
released,
be fair,
yeah,
it's just been such a long time, and obviously, I remember
yeah,
it starting within like 2007, 8-ish. So that's why I thought it might have been that
yeah,
close. But fair enough.
yeah,
But see, that's the thing. Like, this is what I would class as a good Marvel movie, like where they
yeah.
actually stuck to source material and they did add their own little bits here and there. They done
This
their
is
own thing.
pre this is pre MCU, honestly. Like this is before Disney bought it. So
Mhm.
this is basically Paramount's thing. Like they
Yeah.
were taking care of it. And I'm a little interested, like what would you think, like what would you think would have happened if like Paramount like did like all of the phases going forward? Like,
See, for
if
me,
Disney did but
ironically, I don't know because of how good this movie is, and the first few movies were. They could have probably done a really good job. I think obviously now that Paramount is not the same company anymore, they've been bought over by like Nickelodeon and things. Now it would be a different case. But back then, I would argue probably it would be a better shout, to be honest, because like
Yeah,
they knew how to tell grounded stories, and they also knew how to make it comic accurate enough to the point where even if there is, like, an odd wee change there or there, you didn't mind about it because it wasn't nothing, like, major to, like, disturb the story, where when a
yeah,
lot of the newer movies, like, they did a lot just to, like, do fan service, and this is one of the movies I liked, is that they weren't doing fan service-y shit, other than, like, the one cameo from, like, Hawkeye, which was cool, but, you
yeah,
know that's to be expected. He works with Agents of Shield. That's his job. So it's not like it's out of place either. Where like sometimes you
yeah.
just get a random cameo from a character in an MCU movie just because they're like, oh look at this, look who's coming to the
Oh
universe.
my gosh, it's so and so. Like,
Yeah, it's not one of those ones that it feels like really bad. Also, like I just like overall this movie is a solid movie. Like there's not many gripes I would have with it, and the best about it as well is
yeah,
that it's not too long, it's not too short. It's a
yeah,
fun watch, and also it's just a good movie. See, that's the thing. It's that good. There's no much else to talk about now, really, if you
yeah.
think
I
about it.
mean, like, there was just like some stuff that was just like not history. I mean, other than Idris Elba being like, I
Mm,
mean, I know he's race swap, but like for like the Norse mythology's sake, I'm like, okay, like his name actually means the white, the whitest of white. So like,
mm.
I'm just like, I'm like,
Which in itself is ironic, but hey, it is what it is,
you, you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying though? Like, I'm like, you know what? It's too easy, and I'm gonna probably just let it go. I like Idris Elba, but like I think it could have went to somebody else. I mean, they could have found something else for him. Like, man, like,
Also, when it comes to the rating of this movie, here comes another controversial opinion. I actually would say this is like a solid 8.59 because it's just a good start of a movie.
yeah,
Like for me, it's in that realm of like Batman Begins and things like that, where it's just a really, really good start. Where
it's a
obviously,
good origin
unfortunately,
story.
yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
origin story. Unfortunately, obviously, it goes to shit down the line. But this was one of the better origin stories for me. It wasn't too rushed. It wasn't changed to high heavens like it goes
It
on to be, you know?
it was straight to the point, and that was what I like about Phase One
Mhm,
Marvel movies. It was like straight to the point. Like we didn't have to like have this like we're setting this up for this up, and we're setting this up for this up, and setting this up for this one. This is the setup to the setup to the setup to the setup. I'm like, no, 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 no.
You
I
had
want
you had
Marvel
a
to go
one
back.
post-credit scene, basically.
Yeah, I want Marvel to go back to these type of movies
Yeah,
of like, you know, like if the series was to end today, like we'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like because that's
mhm,
what Iron Man was gonna happen to Iron Man if it didn't make any money. Like if Iron Man did not make any money, hey, we ended on a good note. It was still a watchable movie, but
mhm,
that's what like each movie was like okay, if this doesn't make money, we might be done. But hey, book closed. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah. See,
so
for
that's how I
me,
felt.
like, that's the thing that I like about the original MCU is that it was straight to the point, and, yeah, they might have had one, like, post-credit scene, and that was about it, and it wasn't anything spectacular, it was just like, "Oh, look, it's Tony Stark showing up here," or, "It's Captain America showing up here. Oh, wow, what's going on next?" Where now it's like, here's Captain America.
It's
Here's Bucky Barnes. Here's this guy. Oh, but also here comes Thanos, and you're like, right, right, right. Chill the fuck out with all of that stuff. Like, it's cool, it's
yeah.
nice, but it doesn't all have to always constantly be connected constantly. Because it's
It's
like,
just like what Jacob. It's like Jacob be talking about. Shout out to the chosen one. He said this like it's the setup to the setup to the setup to the setup to the setup, and it's like, dude, let's screw the setup. Let's get to the point. Let's get to the main event, man. I'm
yeah.
one of them people. Let's get to the main event. Like there's enough there. There's enough Marvel movies to where I don't need to know the setup anymore. Like, okay, I kind of get what's going on here, but
I
you
don't I
know,
don't need the undercard. So what rating would you give the movie?
um, I think this movie 7.5 on a 7.5 for me. I mean,
Mhm.
like cuz there is some boring parts to me every once in a while or
Yeah.
whatever, but I enjoy it for what it is. Like
Mm.
I like Thor 1. So,
Yeah.
Like Thor one to me is the best one out of all of them, or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
yeah. So 7.5 ish or whatever. Like like
Fair enough.
on a good day for me or whatever. Like not too anything spectacular or whatever, but it's not. It doesn't also suck. It still keeps my interest or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's like a background noise movie for me. Yeah.
Alright, cool, cool. So, since it's near the end and we've gave the ratings, it's time for the post-credit. So, Danny, sir, would you like to go to an amazing world? One where you could say it's Jurassic.
Is Star Lord supposed to be in that one? Eh.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to. I just don't think he has his blasters this time around, which sucks. Anyway,
Yeah, he's gonna need it. He's gonna need a big blaster and Groot.
okay.
So anyway,
Anyway, I have been Ken and Wolf. That has been MMA King Kreese Jr., and we shall see you in the next video.